afternoon, and thank you for joining our presentation today called Finance the Career of Your Dreams. This is brought to you by Northwood University DeVos Graduate School of Management. My name is Christie McDonald. I'm the Associate Director of Financial Aid here at Northwood University, and we're going to go through some different types of financial aid that you can expect when applying to the DeVos Graduate School. Next slide, please. So the first step for financial aid is the FAFSA form. You might be familiar with this with your undergrad, but we do encourage, if you do need funding for your education, to definitely complete the FAFSA form. It's the free application for federal student aid. You can apply by going to www.studentaid.gov. The form will take you about 20 to 30 minutes to complete. If you did complete one for your undergrad, it's actually going to be quite a bit easier. A lot of the information will be pre-filled with your existing information that you would have completed. Next slide, please. So in order to complete your FAFSA, there's a few things that you're going to need. If you didn't fill out a FAFSA in the last couple years, you might have what's called the federal PIN number. Everything has been moved over to what's called an FSA ID. This FSA ID actually acts as your signature for the FAFSA. In addition, if you do plan to take student loans, it will act as your login for that as well. So you can keep track of your loans. Also, way into repayment, you'll be able to access your loans using that student aid or the FSA ID with your servicer as well. You will also need your tax information. If you're looking to complete the FAFSA for 22-23, so starting in fall of 22, you will need your 2020 taxes. If you're still looking to start in January and completing the 21-22 FAFSA, you will need your 2019 tax information. When you get to the FAFSA on the actual income portion for your FAFSA, there is an option to link to the IRS. I highly encourage, if you have the option to do that, to do it. The reason why we say that is it actually transfers your tax information directly from the IRS to FAFSA. And what that means is if you get selected for any type of additional documentation requirement, your tax information will be fulfilled by doing that IRS data retrieval. If you do fill out an amended tax return, or if you are married filing separately, you will not be able to do the IRS data retrieval. In that case, keep your taxes handy. You'll need them to fill it out. And if you need additional information completed, then you will actually need those taxes to send into our office. Next slide, please. So what to expect? Once you complete your FAFSA and we get it in the financial aid office, you will get what's called a financial aid award letter. We will be emailing your Northwood email to let you know that financial aid award letter is available. You'll actually use your sign-in to self-service, the my.northwood.edu, to view your financial aid award letter. In addition, you can accept your loans out there as well. You will have what's called the unsubsidized direct loan on your financial aid award letter. If you are familiar with direct student loans, once you get a bachelor's degree, Department of Education no longer offers what's called subsidized loans to students. So they only offer unsubsidized loans. So you won't see a subsidized award on your award letter. You will just see that unsubsidized direct loans. So you actually can just get an unsubsidized loan by completing the FAFSA. It is not need-based. So you could make $600,000 and still qualify for an unsubsidized direct loan because it is not based on need. It's just based on you being a student. It rolled at least half time, which is 3 credit hours for a DeVos Graduate School for the semester, and you have actually completed the FAFSA and you qualify for that. You also can't have another student loan in default. So the interest is accruing while you're in school, so that's one downside to the federal unsubsidized direct loan compared to the subsidized. However, it is the best type of loan that you will receive because it does fall underneath the Department of Education, and it does qualify for all their repayment options as well. So we do encourage you to, if you do take out an unsubsidized direct loan, to make some sort of payment while you're in school. And the reason why we encourage that, even though it's not required, is that you'll keep up on that interest to reduce that capitalized interest at the end, which does make a significant difference when you go into repayment. This loan is deferred until 6 months after you graduate or drop below part-time. And that, like I said, though, that interest is accruing. So that 6 months after you graduate or drop below part-time, you will start making payments on your interest and your principal. Next slide, please. On your financial aid award letter, you'll also see what's called optional loan eligibility. This loan can be covered in a couple of different ways. The first option is a private or alternative loan. This is a loan that a student can get directly with a bank. It is a student loan, but it's actually through a bank. For example, Sallie Mae, Discover, banks like that will offer these types of loans. If you do not have a lot of credit established or good credit, they will require you to have a credit-worthy cosigner added on that loan. These loans are good because they have a 0% origination fee, and they can be deferred while you're in school. So like the unsubsidized though, these loans will be accruing the interest will be accruing while you're in school, and you're not required to make payment. But just like the unsubsidized loan, we do encourage you to make some sort of payment while you're in school just to keep up on that interest. Students can borrow over and above their federal loans, so they can borrow the direct unsubsidized loan, and if they need additional money for educational expenses, they can borrow the private or alternative loan. And the application is actually done directly with the lender. So Northwood does not see any part of that loan. We actually don't see your interest rate because it is a tiered interest rate. We don't see anything until you've been approved, and the lender sends us that certification request saying so-and-so has been approved for the loan, this is how much they've been approved for, and then we will actually set up the disbursement for that loan for you. And you can actually see which lenders we've used in the past year by going to northwood.edu. Underneath financial aid and tuition, student loans, and then alternative or private. And that tool is called the ELM Select Comparison Tool. It's a really neat tool because it goes through the lenders, and you can actually, once you pick one, you can click on it and it'll go right directly to the lender's website and apply. One thing I would say is if you're interested in a private or alternative loan, you don't really want to shop around just because the credit standards are pretty much the same. So if you're approved with one, you're going to be approved with another. If you're denied, you're denied. So just pick one lender to go with and then make that application for that loan. The other option for optional loan eligibility is what's called a Graduate Plus loan. This does fall underneath the Department of Education's loan as well, much like the direct unsubsidized loan. It is credit-based as well, but you do apply for that loan directly on the studentaid.gov website where you would have completed your FAFSA and completed your loan documents. This does have an origination fee of 4.228, which means that if you apply for a loan, the Department of Education is going to take that 4.22 right off the top of the loan and then send the rest of the money to the school. So you don't get 100% of what you're borrowing like you do in the alternative or private loan. And the interest rate currently is at 6.28% for Graduate Plus loans, and the direct unsubsidized for graduate students is sitting at 5.28, and that has a 1.057% origination fee off the top of the loan. Next slide, please. In addition to institutional scholarships that you'll get based on your GPA from your undergraduate, and as well as when you actually send in your commit deposit for Northwood, we will determine your institutional scholarships. But we also have a few scholarship searches that we've kind of vetted out to say these are good scholarship searches, and they do have specialized scholarships for master level students or doctoral level students. So where most of us have a lot of undergraduate scholarships, these ones actually do have some scholarships out there for master level students. So I would definitely say search these scholarships, see if there's anything available to you. And one thing is never pay for a scholarship search. They should never ask for any type of payment for that. So if somebody's asking you for a payment, don't complete the information on that site because it's not a good scholarship search. Some of the scholarship deadlines are between December 2021, so you can actually still apply for some of them at the scholarshipamerica.org. So go ahead and check that out as soon as possible to see if anything that you can apply for to qualify for. As well as at fastweb.monster.com, you can create a profile and browse the scholarships, and then as well as the scholarship search and directory. Also, check your local community foundation and credit unions, and as well as your employer. Next slide, please.
Oh, thanks, Christy. Hello, everyone. We are honored that you joined us today. I'm Beth Bryce. I'm the Director of Career Advancement for our Adult Degree Program and DeVos Graduate School of Management. Christy talked about the how you can obtain your degree. Now I'll talk about the why. And as a career coach, one of the most common questions I get is, will the degree be worth it? What will it do for me? And here's what I know. The decision to invest in a degree shouldn't be based solely upon the math, nor should it be just upon your heart. The best decision is based on a combination of the two, your head and your heart. And so first I'll speak to you left brainers, our analytical people. And I can relate. I spent over 20 years in accounting and finance, and any sound decision that I make includes listing the pros and cons, using weighted average and Gantt charts. You think I'm kidding? No, I wish I were. But let's talk ROI. A good rule of thumb is a 3 to 6 year payback on the cost of your degree. 3 to 6 years is actually the national average. And I'm going to keep this real simple for us and walk you through a basic formula using a 5-year period that you can use to calculate your own ROI. So grab a piece of paper and pen if you haven't already, and a sip of your coffee, fire up those brain neurons. And so for our left brain decision makers, the simple ROI formula really is the total income, your total income over a period of 5 years after you get your degree, less the total income over 5 years without your degree, less the cost of the education, and plus some other things. So there are 5 factors to consider. And I'm actually going to use figures from our national averages from NACE to support these numbers. So number 1, the average income before getting your master's degree is actually $58,900 for an MBA. So you know what your annual salary is at this moment. So that's what you would write down. Number 2 is the projected income after the degree is completed, and national averages show 75.5 is the national average MBA salary, okay? So the third point is your average income over 5 years. So let's look at that. So you finish your degree, you're at 75.5, and looking at the next 5 years, I just used a 3% costing salary lift. The annual job performance evaluation comes through, you get your 3% raise, cost of living basically, and so that's what I use to calculate this. And I did the same for if you were at a BBA level, 58.9. So at 58.9, looking at the next 5 years out, taking into effect a 3% raise each year, what does that look like for you? And if you look down below, you'll see 5 years, 75.5 with a 3% increase is $400,900. That's what you would be earning over the next 5 years. And then we're going to back out if you didn't have your degree, $322,000 at that national average rate. Okay, the before is 322, the after is 409. And then I'm going to back out the cost of the degree. I rounded up 38,000. And then this other factor is there's just too many variables to talk about. So I kind of left that out of the equation. I don't want to blow your mind at this point in the game, but tax implication, your geographic location. What happens, Beth, if I change industries altogether? What about the unemployment rate? There are just so many factors. So I kind of just left the wild card out of it. But if you just looked at the first 4 things, what I just explained to you, you would have a lift of $40,900 at the end of 5 years. And that's paying back your master's degree. Actually, if you look at it, in less than 3 years, which we're almost beating the national average, 3 to 6 years. So I hope that you followed along. I know there's so many different variables. I use national averages. Contrary to popular belief, I do not have a crystal ball. I know, I wish I did. I'm sure you do too. But what I do have is optimism with a healthy dose of risk and reward, and that has served me extremely well in my career. So think about this. I have some good news and some bad news for you. The good news is we're going to be working until we're 70. The bad news is we're going to be working until we're 70. And so think about in the next 20 years, 2 decades. Over the next 2 decades, pursuing your degree, paying it off in almost less than 3 years. You have so much earning potential. You'd be looking at close to $750,000 after 2 decades. And why would you walk away from that at the table? So it's just something for you to think about. So I hope that helps the left brainers really look at an ROI model and think about your personal factors. And so if you wanted to reach out to me, please certainly do. I put my contact information in the chat stream, and I'd love to have an individual conversation with you if you wanted to work through an ROI model, okay? So now I'm gonna talk with our right brainers, right? This is where your heart kicks in, your intuition, the trust and faith you have in your abilities to achieve your dreams. And there are 5 factors for you to consider. And the first one is leveraging your natural abilities and talents, challenging purposeful work. And if you don't have this, then why not? What skills are you missing to level up? Most of us get stuck because we don't know what we don't know. And do you have a vision of what your career path looks like? In other words, who is in control of your career trajectory? It has to be you. You cannot wait on the sidelines for the promotion or the perfect job to just suddenly appear. It's time to fill in your skills gaps, okay? So number 2 is making an impact in the world. It really boils down to leadership. So what kind of difference are you making for your employer, your customers, your community, and the world? Whether you are leading a company, that might not be for you, a team, a project, or leading yourself. At this point in our careers, it's really about making an impact. And do you have the knowledge and skills to make a greater impact? Something to think about. Number 3 is the power of your network, human capital. 80% of all opportunities are found through your network. And do you surround yourself with highly successful people in your field, in your workplace? Do they challenge you? Do they inspire you? If you are the smartest person in the room, my friend, you need to find a different room. We grow by learning and by being challenged. And there is no prize for staying in a comfort zone. I think that's a tweetable moment right there, right? Like there is no prize for staying in a comfort zone. Number 4 is unlimited opportunity, the path to entrepreneurship. Did you know 50% of working people today have side hustles, multiple streams of revenue? And if we learned anything from the pandemic, this is a must. And that number is actually closer to 60% for millennials. And it will continue to grow for younger generations. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak, I get that. But most successful entrepreneurs I know have mastered the skills, their abilities, talent, impact, network. They understand the importance of all those factors that we just talked about. And how are you doing in that area? It's time to be honest with yourself. And so lastly, it's all about your dreams. We have limited resources. I think we can all agree on that, time and money. And we've spoken at length about the money piece, but time is even more limited and critical because it waits for no one. And it's certainly not anything that we can control. Money we can control. Time, no, not unless you have a magic wand. And if you do, please pass it to me. But if you start now, you'll reach your goals much faster and achieve the quality of life you are dreaming about. It's truly all about the quality of life in your family. And I'll just leave you with this thought. I found nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. And Nelson Mandela said there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life less than the one you are capable of living. No passion there for settling for a life less than what you are living. So I hope that was helpful. Next slide, please.
Thank you so much, Beth and Christy, for taking the time to explain how you can
get your degree and why you should take that leap of faith and invest in your future. This was so helpful. My name is Lauren Bess, and I'm an admissions representative here at the DeVos Graduate School at Northwood. I just wanted to outline some of the graduate programs that we do offer if you are interested in taking that next step. So first, we offer an MBA that focuses on a broad-based business acumen. And then we have multiple Master of Science programs, a Master of Science in Finance, a Master of Science in Organizational Leadership, a Master of Science in Business Analytics, and our newly launched Master of Science in Human Resources. These are all more specialized degree focusing in on their specific area. And then we also have a Doctorate of Business Administration for those that already have a master's degree and looking to further their education even more. All of these programs have flexible class formats, 8-week courses, capstone projects, dedicated graduate advisor. Scholarships are available, and we do not require the GMAT or the GRE. Our next upcoming starts will be our Fall 2, October 18th, which it's not too late to apply, and our January 10th. Next slide, please. Here is our contact information. Like I said, I'm the graduate admissions representative, and then there's Beth Bryce and Christie McDonald. We just wanted to thank everybody for coming today, and we do ask if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. But since we do have a few extra minutes today, I do have a question for you, Christie, if you do have a second. So my question for you would be, can you please briefly walk us through the financial benefits for military students who want to attend graduate school? Sure. So definitely you can use your military benefits if you are a veteran. We do have, it depends on which benefit you actually use, but we do have a designated person at Northwood University that actually walks you through the process to get all your paperwork filed with the VA services. But we do have definitely take advantage of that. The yellow ribbon, just in fact, you actually get a great return for your VA benefits at Northwood. So some people believe that because we're a private institution or because of the cost of the institution, you're not eligible for those programs, but you definitely are. So if you do qualify for any type of VA benefits, definitely contact Marissa Hernandez, and I can actually put her information in the chat as well. And she would be happy to speak with you, go through your individualized benefits to see exactly how we can maximize those and get you through the program. So yeah, definitely don't shy away. If you do have VA benefits, we can work with that, and we'd be happy to help you through the process. Excellent. Thank you, Christie. And I do have a question for you, Beth. Can you talk a little bit about the ROI for a doctoral degree?
Sure. So it's basically the same formula, right? But I think the conversation about career pathing is a little unique, where the conversations that I've had have been about consulting, also creating something magnificent. So whether it's a program, a book, something impactful, a curriculum. There's also, the path to higher education. But more and more what we're seeing and recruiters are asking for are doctoral candidates, people with doctoral degrees in a corporate arena, and definitely business analytics is the number one characteristic and skill set that they're looking for. So if you can imagine, the world is really your oyster. You can start your own consulting business and have a multitude of corporate clients. You could be teaching at the same time. You could even be working as a full-time employee for a corporation, but then also have a side hustle of having your own consulting business, managing a few clients. So the earning potential is really, it's unlimited. It is unlimited. So I don't know if that's helpful. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you so much for outlining that for us, Beth.
Yep.
If there aren't any questions, we can wrap up our session today, but we just want to thank everyone here on the call today for joining us.
We hope you have a wonderful day, and please do not hesitate to reach out to either one of us with any of your graduate school questions. Have a great day.